Johnny Manziel will start for the Browns. Should he be in your fantasy lineup? We'll ask Jeff Pasquino from thefootballguys.com. If you have a fantasy football question, text ESPN and your question to the number 89,000. We'll ask Jeff as many questions as we can fit in, but let's get to some of the questions that have been coming in about the players throughout the course of the week. Jeff, we got injuries all over the place, so a lot of people need a lot of help. Let's start with tonight's game, Cincinnati and Cleveland. Who should be active?
I would go with the Cincinnati defense first and foremost, because the last time Manziel started against the Bengals, he put up 0 points. So that's the number one play. After that, I kind of like A.J. Green. Pretty much anybody on the Bengals side. I think Gio Bernard over Jeremy Hill, although both should be good plays. And Andy Dalton looks pretty solid this year as well.
All right, let's get to some quarterback questions here. And, obviously you got a couple guys on the bye week. We got one guy that didn't look good last week, but Ben Roethlisberger against the Raiders. A lot of people asking about, should they go to Big Ben this week?
It's a good question. I like him this week. I think he's a top 10 option. Anytime you have a stud quarterback on a week where you have 6 teams off and then 2 on Thursday, you got to go with your stud. So Ben Roethlisberger, top 10 option this week.
All right, let me ask you about Jay Cutler. Going against the Charger team. Cutler seems like he's on the waiver wire for a lot of leagues.
I like him this week. I think that neither the Bears nor the Chargers play very much defense. So I think that's going to be an entertaining game between two teams below 500.
All right, what about Peyton Manning? You feeling like he's back? Should he be back in your lineup?
I think he's getting better, but not against the Colts. I think that they're going to probably run the ball more, and Denver's defense is so solid, Peyton really doesn't need to throw a ton anymore. So I think he's an okay option.
Andrew Luck has not been the guy he was last year. He led me to a championship last year. Should he be leading you in your lineup this week against the Broncos?
Not against the Broncos defense. They're just too good.
Wow, so Luck sits this week. All right, Jeff Pasquino, footballguys.com, answering your fantasy football questions. Let's ask you a question on the quarterback. Luck, Matt Ryan, or Tyrod Taylor at quarterback for one listener?
Well, I would go with Matt Ryan, even though it looks like the 49ers aren't going to put up much for defense. Andrew Luck's a close second, though. I don't want to throw him completely off the table, because if they're going to play well in that game, it's going to be because of Luck's arm.
All right, a lot of running back questions. We have so many injuries, plus the bye weeks here. Let's get into some running back situations here. What are you doing with the running back situation in Washington? Who are you going with there?
Probably none of the above, but I kind of like Matt Jones of the most, because he offers 3 down versatility.
Who's taking over for Matt Forte in Chicago?
That would be Jeremy Langford out of the Big Ten last year, and I think that he's got a good shot of being a top 20 running back this week against a bad run defense in San Diego.
Last week you gave us David Cobb. The coach got fired. What about the Tennessee back?
They're still hanging their hats on Antonio Andrews, but I think Cobb is going to be there sooner rather than later. But the problem with Cobb is that he has Eddie Lacy disease. He came in fat at weigh-in before he was being active, so now he's got to get in shape.
Send us your questions. Text ESPN and your question to the number 89,000. We'll get some more questions. Let's go to some wide receivers real fast. Who takes over for Steve Smith? Who gets all the targets in Baltimore now?
Probably, they get a bye this week, but Crockett Gilmore is a good option, but I think Aiken is probably the number one wide receiver, but it's going to be a tough offense for Joe Flacco.
All right. What about, interesting here, Jordan Matthews coming off the bye. He's been the top target, but do you trust him against the Cowboys this week?
Trust is a strong word with Matthews. I think he sees a lot of targets, but wide receiver 3 is a decent prescription for him. I like a lot of guys a little bit higher than him this week.
All right, Steve Johnson versus the Bears. Keenan Allen is out. Is he the guy that you should be adding for San Diego?
Absolutely, and I think him and Malcolm Floyd are going to see a lot more targets, but Stevie Johnson will see the most targets overall from those two guys.
All right, a couple questions here for that you guys have been texting in throughout the week. Text ESPN and your message to the number 89,000. Listener wants to know, Kendall Gaskins, is he where at the start?
Kendall
Gaskins, is that what he texted in here? I guess he's talking about the Baltimore guy in Baltimore. What's his name out there?
No, that even I'm stumped on that one. So I would say I wouldn't go that far off the deep end for a wide receiver in Baltimore.
Oh, 49ers, the running back for the 49ers. There you go.
Oh, no, I think Pierre Thomas is just the guy who's been added this week. He's probably going to be the lead back. I wouldn't trust San Francisco. They can't even get 200 total yards this week. It's going to be really rough this week.
Yeah, and then we got a question. Pierre Thomas or Matt Jones? By the way, it was Kamar Aiken that I was thinking of, and not Kendall Gaskins. That was Kamar Aiken. Pierre Thomas or Matt Jones?
I would probably go with Matt Jones because he's going to catch the ball a little bit more and get some garbage points against New England.
How about Jay Cutler or Marcus Mariota?
I would go with Cutler. Mariota is just unstable right now in Tennessee.
Yeah, all right. By the way, Mariota facing the Saints, though, that might make him a little bit more attractive. That 30. Yeah. Yep. All right, Jeff Pasquino, footballguys.com, setting your week number 9 fantasy football and week number 8 fantasy football lineups here. And obviously, they all start tonight. Get your players in for the Thursday night games. Bengals and Browns players. Jeff, thanks to you, pal.
Thanks, Mike. Enjoy the games, everyone.